Oh, greetings, Earthlings. All right, let's listen. Let's jump into this. I'm not even trying to waste your time. As the world burns, man, we're going to look at some stories that are just circulating around. Me and Strack used to do this when we was cross-examined, and I just feel like there's so much to hit. I'm not going to waste a lot of your time. Your attention span matters. But let's have this conversation. All right. We need to talk about this. There's a lot going on here, a lot of stories. We're going to highlight them. First things first, welcome to CNN. I'm your host, Kirk Kennedy. Let's go in. On this channel, we take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. All right. If you are living under a rock, or I don't know, maybe not, your algorithm controls a lot of what you see on YouTube. Believe it or not, we've already conceded to AI years ago when we started surrendering to an algorithm and making statements like and subscribe to the channel. It helps the algorithm. Like, we talk about the algorithm like it's a real thing, but the algorithm is just an AI equation that controls whether or not you will see these videos and how much it will present them. Go figure. All right. But here's the question I got to ask. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? So let's jump into the first story on our episode, As the World Burns. Haven't talked about this in a while, so if this throws some of you who are newer subscribers off, a couple of years ago, I fell in love, figuratively speaking, with Caitlin Clark in the WNBA. Not because I'm an Uncle Tom, because I just love good basketball. You wouldn't tell this right now because I'm chubbed out. But there was a point where I played highly competitive basketball. I played semi-pro. At one point, I was a point guard. I broke Isaiah Thomas's assist record at 5-star basketball camp that had been held for like 20 years. All that good stuff, right? Love basketball. Started watching, hearing about some girl in Iowa that was cooking 3 years ago. Started watching, and I was mesmerized because she was just shooting. She was competitive. And it wasn't mean she was the best player, but she was good. She captivated my attention, and not only mine, but the entire nation, and larger than that, came into the WNBA 2 years ago and was cooking. And ever since she's come into the league, a lot has changed, a lot's happened, and she's still the source of conversation. Well, 2 days ago, sports commentator Emmanuel Acho made some comments that have gone super viral, and people are really either offended or agree with his take about Caitlin Clark. So let's go back and see for ourselves. I want to give some thoughts on this. I am obviously speaking as a believer. Believers can have takes on sports, etc. All right, let's go listen to this point, and we'll talk about it.
I need your attention.
Oh my.
I need you behind the camera. I need your attention. This is the dumbest smart take you're ever going to hear.
Oh, what?
I don't like this.
How does that work?
Terrified.
The W at this junction in time would be better without Caitlin Clark because she is a bigger distraction than she is an additive. Caitlin Clark has gotten the WNBA over the necessary threshold they needed. Now people are watching. Now we realize, oh, there's talent in the W, talent that's actually even greater than Caitlin Clark. And I'm not just talking about bigs like Asia. I'm talking about the Olivia Miles. I'm talking about the Paige Beckers. Hell, I'm talking about the Kelsey Mitchells. Caitlin got the necessary eyes there. But now that the eyes are there, we don't necessarily need her anymore. It's Sunday, so can I take him to church, Karen?
Oh, I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Can I take him to church?
Please do.
Let's just go Old Testament of the book.
Okay.
Moses. Israelites needed Moses to get past the Red Sea. After we got past the Red Sea, appreciate you. We don't really need you no more. Obviously, there's a lot of nuance in there, but the fact of the matter is, he didn't ultimately get them to the promised land. He got them out the Red Sea. They wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. Let me get back to the modern era, Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark has gotten the WNBA players past the proverbial Red Sea. Chartered planes, new CBA, new max contracts. With all due respect, if Caitlin disappeared from the W, she wouldn't be missed. We got Olivia. We finna have Juju. We got Paige. We got Asia. Angel setting records. I'm getting boards. We got NECA. Respectfully, Caitlyn did what only Caitlyn could do, and we don't necessarily need her to do anymore. Thank you, Caitlyn. We can take it from here. That person that runs leadoff leg in the Olympic 4x4, thank you. We can take it from here. Give me that baton. We're good now. Now you're saying that the WNBA needs to be cognizant of where they put Caitlin Clark on posters. The WNBA and the officials need to alter the rules for Caitlin Clark. The WNBA and opposing players need to treat Caitlin Clark more gently. Caitlin Clark's coach needs to be cognizant of how she talks to her in public because it's going to look like there's an issue. You're getting general managers fired, head coaches fired, commissioners fired, social media teams fired, all because we have to cradle and cradle this woman.
Okay. All right. So a number of people are offended at this. Some people are standing by it, but a number of people are offended at this Caitlin Clark take that the WNBA no longer needs Caitlin. She's more of a distraction. She served her purpose. All right. Here's on the premise, you would think, yeah, that's right. But you could say that about any superstar, right? There was a point where Michael Jordan had the NBA buzzing, which is viewership was on. Okay, there's other good athletes that are playing. You got different years. You got LeBron. You got the Steph Currys. You got when Tim Duncan came in, now the Wembys are in, right? So you're always going to have good athletes that are getting more notoriety because the league itself has garnered attention. Caitlin Clark clearly was that. But here's what I think people are missing about what they call the Caitlin Clark effect. So let me just remind you a little bit. When she was in college, she had her junior and senior year were phenomenal. She lost junior year, the Final Four, senior year, the championship game to then Angel Reese's LSU team, right? And that was sort of what they came into the league with, this rivalry. Caitlin Clark never said, I don't like Angel Reese, so she's my rival, but the culture said that. And they made it about who's the better player, right? They made it about who's the better player. Caitlin Clark came into the WNBA with the most fanfare we've ever seen, right? And here's what happened. There was a lot of talk. Angel Reese was constantly making statements about, well, people need to watch me too, and it's not just about her. Caitlin Clark never said nothing like that, right? But she was getting bullied and all this stuff in the league. It seemed like women were offended and jealous. And now, 2 years later, people are now acknowledging this. Back then, it was like, oh, you just hating this and that. Now people are acknowledging this is true. And then they said, well, look, Asia Wilson is better than him. And here's what happened. When Caitlin Clark came in, there was rumors that Nike was giving her a shoe. This girl hadn't even played a game yet or that much game. So Asia Wilson, who was the perennial all-star of the league, was going around with like a hashtag saying, of course I have a shoe, right? There was all this comparison to Caitlin Clark, and a lot of it was just jealousy, right? I think, and I understand why. As an athlete, there are women that have labored harder than Caitlin Clark did, who paved the way for a Caitlin Clark on some level, and that the WNBA was just not getting the notoriety that it was until Caitlin Clark came. She was just a phenomenal, exciting player, and I credit it to Steph Curry, because when Steph Curry came, there was a time in the NBA when the dunk was everything. And an alley-oop was even better. Like if you could do an alley-oop over something, a dunk, it was like, well, we used to look forward to the NBA dunk contest. But then at some point, Steph Curry shows up and he starts hitting threes at an enormous distance and with incredible consistency. And he essentially took the dunk from being the most important, exciting part of a basketball game to now the three-point shot. Here comes Caitlin Clark in his shadow. They call her the logo for a reason. Not because no one else can hit threes from where she can, but she just consistently hits threes from really far away. Captured America's attention. So when she came into the league, what happened a lot was two things. One, there was already jealousy and a lack of acceptance of who she was because she wasn't coming from one of the powerhouse colleges. I think her sexuality was not what a lot of the people in the WNBA are, right? There was a lot of things that represented we don't like this girl, but everyone else did, right? So she comes into the league, viewership is bananas. Oh, she broke so many records her rookie year. Viewership was crazy. All this stuff was happening, and a lot changed for the WNBA, which he laid out in his talk. And so when she came in, what was missing was first it was about a race thing. Oh, she's just white. You know, there's better players. Why isn't Nike doing Asia and Angel Reese is better? All this stuff. Angel Reese is not better. She's playing better this season because she changed teams. She destroyed the Chicago Sky organization. They would even say that. But here's the thing that I feel like people are not paying attention to, and even Acho, I get what he's saying, but it wasn't about who was better. Caitlin Clark is not the best player in the league, and it's hard to pick a guard over. Who can you honestly say is better than Asia Wilson in the league? But Asia Wilson is like a post player. She's like 6. I think she's 6'4", or maybe 6'6". She's down low. She's a beast. Asia Wilson is tough. What I think happened is those players felt like, why is she getting all the fanfare when we've been putting up numbers all this time? We've been putting up big numbers, and Diana Taurasi was like, oh, when you come to the W, it's not going to be what you think. These are grown women that can play ball, and they're going to show her. And then Diana Taurasi was like, after playing against her, hey, she's the truth. She's the chosen one. She was it, right? That's what happened back then. But what people missed and what Acho's missing right now is not who's the better player, right? It's who can you build a league around? Who can you build a league around? Let me be honest with you. And this may offend some people, and I'm not trying to, but this is what, if you ask people, other people have said this. I said this back in 2024, and people got offended at me, and that's fine. Whether I disagree with you decade. People act like if they disagree with you, it's a moral failure on your part. This happens in the comment section. Sometimes people will write these long comments and disagree with me, and then when I disagree with them, then they say I'm being defensive. It's like, well, fam, it's a YouTube comment section. It's just like disagreeing with someone or disliking their opinion does not make that a moral failure against them. But it's the culture we live in. Remember, it used to be you were hating, or if you don't like something, or you just hating. And then it became you don't understand. You ever had someone try to explain something to you, and you're like, yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. Well, let me re-explain it because I don't think you want to. Like, no, fam, I understand what you're saying. I understand the sentence structure, the words that you're using, why this noun is, this verb is modifying that noun. I just disagree with you. And then it became, oh, you just, it's a moral failure on your part, right? This happens from time to time. But I said back then, I think what was hurting the WNBA was two things. One, it's a dominant sport that men play, and people would prefer to watch men because unless you're a girl who wants to play the sport or wants to see her, men are just going to play it to a different degree. You want to see someone dunk on someone from half court or whatever it is. Women can't do that yet, right? And may not ever be able to do that. Their bone structure is created differently. That's why the WNBA is during the summer when the NBA is winding up its season as it gets to the playoffs. But when Caitlin Clark came, I was watching Indiana Fever games instead of the NBA playoffs, the finals. I was more wanted to see her play, and a lot of people were. The problem is that, like, one, women are competing with men who play the sport and who do it more exciting for the most part. And so what made it more exciting, because we're not going to see women dunking on each other. There's some women with some handles for sure, but it was that three ball that Caitlin Clark was hitting. But two, if I'm being honest, it was just sexuality plays a role. The WNBA prides itself on gay pride, right? And most men, this is the reality, right? Men will watch women's sports often largely because they're attracted to the women that are playing, less so because they like the work ethic of the sport they're in. I'm a man. I've talked to many men. People were not interested in watching women who are gay play basketball. And that's just, whether you think it's wrong or right, it's just a reality. Men weren't interested because there's plenty of women. There's more women than men. Why weren't women watching the sport? And the numbers could have been through the roof. It's because basketball is one of those sports that men typically rally around. But when Caitlin Clark came in, She was boom. She could play. She was straight, and then it just became let's watch that. A lot of people want their kids to follow, and you can't blame people for not wanting their kids to have a lifestyle, a sexual preference that they just don't prefer their children to have. And now you have players, the player who does not boast in that particular lifestyle. She's just a ball player, right? That was a big deal 2 years ago. And so it became here is a woman that is drawing attention, who's exciting, that we can build a league around. We can raise the profile of the league, and that's exactly what happened. Even Acho is saying that. He's saying, thank you, Caitlin, you've done it. And he's naming, we got players who were better. Paige Beckers. I don't think Paige Beckers has proven to be better than Caitlin Clark yet. Olivia Miles is having a phenomenal season with the Lynx. But only if you watch the basketball do you know about these names. Paige Beckers may be a little bit different because they've been talking about her since high school, and she went to the most prestigious college, UConn, female, or at least one of the top. And so, and she came in and was embraced by many people who had played at UConn, but also who had the same sexual preferences she does, right? Now her girlfriend plays with her from UConn, all these things, right? Caitlin came in with none of that. She was just straight balling. And you could see, man, she's drawing numbers. We have to remember that America, the American dream, is not about the dream, but it's about commerce. The American dream is largely about come to America and you can make money and be rich and provide for your family. This is why people leave other countries to come to America, because you're advertising something that they want, ability to make money. America is the foundation is not built on Jesus. It's built on commerce. It's not built on Christ. It's built on commerce. It's a place, it's a money-making machine, which is why the dollar is still the world currency, even in this moment. That's going to change soon, but that's the reality. Caitlin Clark was a cash cow. It still is. Even though last year, when Caitlin Clark was injured and she missed all those games, viewership dropped more than 50% because it was like, there were still good players and all of it. Back to Emmanuel Acho. The thing that he's not realizing is who can you build a league around? Olivia Miles and whoever's balling right now. Asia Wilson been in the league before, but the WNBA wasn't rising to the top. There's a lot of good players that were good, but no one was watching, and you can't blame people for that. There just wasn't an interest in the way it was until Caitlin Clark came, and the jealousy towards her, I understand it, because you got girls who've been playing basketball their whole lives who wanted to be the ones that brought that notoriety to a sport that they love, and it wasn't. It was this white girl from Iowa that was just cooking, and everyone rallied around her, and we made it about race and all of it, whatever. The reality is who can you build a league around? And I think the people spoke, because you can't make that decision off talent alone. Olivia Miles is a monster, but it's not clear, can you build a league around her? The people decide that. The people you'll never be able to say who the GOAT is, because the people decide that. And so when all the people are like, this is the girl we like to watch, this is the girl who we're changing stadiums when she plays in those stadiums, because these women never play in the NBA stadiums for the most part. And whenever they play Indiana Fever, they're moving into NBA stadiums. That's because of Caitlin Clark, right? This is the reality. It's a commerce society we live in, whether you like it or not. Everything revolves around money, and Caitlin Clark is a money generator. He named her teammate Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell's been in the league and on Indiana Fever for years. You never heard of her until Caitlin Clark got drafted by the Indiana Fever. It's not about who's better. It's who can you build a league around. Now, let's be clear. Caitlin Clark is no slouch. She's like number 4 in scoring this year alone, and has broken a lot of records even this year. But my point is, like, the people decide who you build a league around, and it's not proven. I think that's a dumb take to say, well, if she can just go do her own thing, because who does that? Who does that? Like, you don't. It's like, hey, Wemby, thanks for coming in and showing us that you can be 7'5" and hit threes from the top of the key. You've proven that now. Go back to France and wherever you play. No, you don't do that. He said, "Do we change rules for her?" Yeah, we changed rules for her. Remember when Kawhi Leonard, they changed the rule or the landing rule because in the Western Conference Finals, he landed on the guy's foot, twisted his ankle, and they changed rules because of that. This happens all the time. I understand what he's saying about it's just a distraction, but it's because of who Caitlin Clark is. She's a generational talent. And it's sad to me that, like, that's still a problem. Like, why is that still a problem? Like, it's like, I don't know. If you're the WNBA, if you're a player, who cares if people love her the most? You just show and prove when you play her. I know when I play sports, if I knew I remember one time I was in the semi-pro league. I think it was this league. And we were playing a team called, was it Metro Call? They were a team. I think it was called Metro Call. They were a team that was undefeated. They hadn't lost in 3 years, this team. So we came to that game like they losing it. We played that game like this is the championship game. And truthfully, it was just like our 5th game of the season. But we took it to them and we ended up beating them. It was the first loss they've had in 3 seasons because we stepped our game up because of them. That's what you're supposed to do. People are getting offended and all this stuff because women are catty. I don't understand it. But the world is burning. Caitlin Clark is still a centerpiece, and it remains to be seen. But I think I've never seen a league react like this ever. I've seen players come in that are phenomenal every year, generational talents. You don't make it to professional sports like at this level unless you have the potential to be a generational talent. Not everyone pans out that way. But what do I know? Let's move on. AI and Elon. Boy, oh boy. I'll be honest, I don't know. Elon is he is putting himself Elon Musk has made himself, so he's the first trillionaire, all right? I'm sure you know this. He's made more money than everyone else, and he's making crazy statements about what he intends to do from a technological standpoint, all right? So we're going to watch this woman talk about what Elon Musk is. She's using the book of Revelation to explain her point. And I want to make one point about this, and then I'll leave you alone. So here is, Stella Emanuel, and we're going to watch someone else's take on this. And here's what they say. Let's pay attention and we'll talk about it.
Seems like something Satan would want. And so then it gets a little weird about the things that he's building. But she's going to speak about all of that. So let's continue on.
Elon Musk is altruistic. He wants to put a neural link in your brain so that the blind will see, the deaf will hear, the lame will walk, Jesus level miracles, as he calls it. That guy is an epitome of the second beast in the book of Revelation.
Now, he did say that. He said that, well, these will be Jesus level miracles. Like he's saying AI will be able to do this. Jesus level. So she's being on. That's true. Right, let's keep going.
And the Bible says that he will deceive those that are on the earth. I like to read this because so that people don't think that this is my opinion. Anybody that's believing Elon Musk needs to go pray and find out what, My question is, Elon Musk has the ability to put low orbit satellites in all nations. Where did he get that permission from? The right. Elon Musk is building robots. He's telling us that in this next few years, not long, maybe a year or two, there will be more robots on this earth than human beings. Elon Musk says that we're going to have so much that we're not going to need to work. We'll have about 90% unemployment because robots will do everything from changing diapers to flipping patients in the nursing home to driving cars to everything. And he says we're going to have universal high income. And people are like, wow, that's amazing. I don't have to work. The issue is, how are they going to give you that universal high income? That is the beast system. When the Bible says in Revelation 13 from 16 to 18 that there will come a time when that you're not going to be able to buy or sell without taking a mark on your hand, or a neural link in your brain.
Everything that she said so far is exactly right. Okay. Or at least it's all facts. Like these are things that Elon Musk has confirmed. We done videos already talking about these things, right? And I told my wife earlier, she was asking about, how all of this is going to happen. And I just seen a video of a big convention, right? And it was Elon and some other, people there. And this woman confirms it. She was very bold with her words. She was saying that the world, like this high income situation is going to take place, that there's going to be that the digital money is guaranteed to happen. Okay, that all money is going to go digital, guaranteed, and that they're going to be able to see every single transaction that takes place.
All right, so much more could be said here. Much more could be said. I've seen a ton of videos about this. I mean, there is hyper vigilance on the end times. And maybe your YouTube feed isn't. My YouTube feed is littered with aliens, AI, end times, what Elon Musk is building and saying. And I don't doubt that any of those things are true. I don't doubt. But you know what does catch me off guard? This is the one thing that I feel like catches me off guard. And I'm just being honest with you. I'm sure some people are saying this stuff. I see people showing big time YouTubers, millions of subscribers, some of them, hundreds of thousands, and they'll talk about all these things. And they're looking for signs of the end times. And they'll tell you, look, we got to be paying attention. Don't be But here's the reality though. If all of those things are true, then like, how should we live? You know what I never hear anyone say? I never hear anyone talk about how you should live. It's almost like my question, are you seeing what I'm saying? Are you paying attention to the end times? Are you focused on this and this technology and AI data centers? And those things are probably true. I strongly believe that these are all a part of this beast system that is coming, where, you're not going to be able to buy or sell or anything. I totally get that. But the thing that I feel like is missing from all these videos, which they often promote without knowing it, anxiety, being afraid of these things are coming. Here's something that's said in the Bible, right? It says this, right? And we're getting into all these questions about the rapture. You got the rapture people who are, and the elect and these people. And there's all this conversation, right? About the beast system and AI and who's the mark of the beast. And is it Jared Kushner, Trump's people? And look at what's happening in the Middle East, all this stuff. And I talked about this in a previous video. But if all of this is true, well, here's what I don't hear anyone really saying. Listen to this. This is 2 Peter 2, right? We're going to read verses 16 through 19. He says this, but avoid irreverent babble, for it will lead people into more and more ungodliness, and their talk will spread like gangrene. Among them are Hymenaeus and Philetus, who have swerved from the truth, saying that the resurrection has already happened. That's in his day. They are upsetting the faith of some. And then he says this, but God's firm foundation stands bearing this seal. The Lord knows those who are his. All right, this is an important statement. He says, the Lord knows those who are his. So let me, spoiler alert. To be honest with you, only the Lord knows who's really, really saved. Now, I'm not saying you can't have confidence by your profession and your persistence in that, right? Because I think we should. But only the Lord knows. Ultimately, Christianity is not The Sims, where everyone who's genuine walks around with a cross on top of their head, and we know who's genuine and who's not. There are a lot of people, the wheat and the tares grow up together, right? There's a lot of people that appear to be saved, and we think they're saved, and then maybe they walk away or something happens. It's just a reality. We don't always know. I've had friends close friends, people that I thought we're going to walk to the end of the world in this, and they've just walked away from the faith. Only the Lord knows those who are his, right? So we don't know, but here's how we can know. Here's something that the scripture does say. Look at the second half of this. So verse 19, but God's firm foundation stands bearing this seal. The Lord knows those who are his, and let everyone who names the name of the Lord depart from iniquity. Right? Let everyone who names the name of the Lord depart. And basically, iniquity is not just sin. It's sin, transgression, iniquity, and then lawlessness, right? Iniquity is when my heart is so, you know what iniquity is? Iniquity is when I still desire the sin that I'm supposed to hate. I tell you not, this is a separate video, but one of the main reasons why it's hard for us to mature as believers is because of iniquity, because it's so entrenched. I still desire the pleasure that I get. I'm not saying I do, by the grace of God. I'm repenting of these things, but that's the battle. And initially, you still desire the things that you're supposed to hate. You still find pleasure in the unrighteousness that crucified the Lord that you say you love. That's the hardest part. Initially, you transition, hopefully, but it's hard because of iniquity. So what the Lord is saying is, look, let those who name the name of the Lord depart from iniquity. In other words, go after your heart, right? James talks about cleanse your hearts, right? Psalm 51 is the ultimate, created me a clean heart, Lord, right? All these videos are exposing the end times and who's who, and look at this and look at that. And I rarely hear them say, if all of this is true, man, you better get right with God. It's more like you better pay attention, like follow the channel, like and subscribe so I can keep giving you these videos. Man, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Of course you want people to like and subscribe to your channel. It's work to do this. Who wants to do these videos and no one watch them? I mean, it's like, I got things to do, but so I do them. It's a labor of love, and I enjoy it. Of course I want people to like and subscribe to the channel. But man, if you don't, so what, fam? At the end of the day, it's like, are you liking and subscribing to the scriptures, to obedience to God? When God said in Isaiah 66:2, this is to who I look, the one who's humble, contrite, and trembles at his word. Do you feel like that's you? Like, this is what people need to be all these channels. Stop telling people to pay attention. It's causing anxiety. We need to say, what do we do? If all this is true, we can't do nothing. Watching it ain't going to change nothing. Watching these things is not going to change anything, but pressing into the Lord, right? Let those who name the name departing from iniquity, not praying that the Lord would help me hate what's evil and cling to what is good. Like daily asking the Lord, help me to hate the sin that I still find pleasure in. Because for many Christians, that's the battle. And the reason why we don't make progress is because we're not honest at there. If you struggle with lust, there is a pleasurable feeling with sexual release, whether it's of God or not. It's a pleasurable thing at times to be angry and cuss somebody out and tell them how you really feel. The Bible calls it fleeting pleasures of sin, things like that, pleasure and unrighteousness. And sometimes in many of us, we just don't hate the sin that crucified the Lord that we said we love. And so we just battle back and forth because you're asking me to stop something that I secretly desire and benefit from. We have to depart from iniquity, fam. That's the reality. So all these shows, all these watch this and watch that, these 2-hour podcasts of people breaking down Revelation and all that. And you usually leave with, man, brother, we need to be praying or just keep watching, like and subscribe so you can get this content. What good is it if that content isn't leading you to surrender? But what do I know? What do I know? Like and subscribe to the channel. See you next video.